Here we are, and welcome to the Friday Night Movie Oscar special. We have a crazy week, but we are dedicated, and we need to get these reactions out for you, so here we are. Lily, how are you?
Drunk.
Okay. Becky, how are you doing?
Just being
Dad
honest.
as Dad would say, my bones are cold. That's how I am right now. I'm in Minneapolis. I'm very cold.
Your bones are cold.
My bones. I'm in Minneapolis. It's very cold. I don't want to talk about it.
Perhaps if you got drunk like Lily, your bones would be warmer.
I'm
in a tank top.
Okay. All right. So we had the Oscars last night, and it's something we've been anticipating, yet none of us really watched in their entirety. I was stuck on a train, so I was watching it in and out of streaming. ABC, DirecTV, get your act together, because in the middle of me being able to stream the show, it just stopped saying it was available in my area, so it conked out kind of in the middle. Totally lame. Becky, you seem to have caught part of it?
So yeah, as soon as I'm on a film shoot, but as soon as we got in, we were doing some gear setup in my hotel room, and my team and I watched the Oscars in the background, and then we transferred down to the hotel bar for dinner, and we kept it going in the background. So we watched it, and we'd kind of like punch up the volume when someone would win, or to see who the winner was and hear the first 10 seconds of a speech, and then, put it back down on mute and keep doing our stuff. So I saw it in part.
Got it. Okay, Lily, and you did not watch it because
No.
Okay.
Because I'd have to stay up.
So
I'd
then
have to
I
stay
think-
up till
I
like
think let-
Super Bowl times.
to make sure-
I stayed up till like 6 a.m. to watch it. So
First
no.
of all, that's a normal night in Spain. So
It is, but like it's
Or
a
you
Sunday
could just
night.
wake up at 6 a.m., which is a normal time in America.
Or I could not, because
So
the show is the
then
worst.
I think we need to get on the same level here, the same information level here, and Becky and I will give you our reactions to the program. Beck, what did you think of an Oscar program without hosts?
I can tell you I did not miss the host at all. And in fact, the few bits I did see, I thought were so much more enjoyable. It seemed like the two presenters up there actually were having a little bit of fun with their own bits.
Yeah, I have to say, I thought the presenters were really well chosen, but also brought it at a higher level than you usually see. Like, normally you get, your presenter moments are John Travolta misreading that thing, or Warren Beatty reading out the wrong thing. This time, Jason Momoa in his pink suit was hilarious. And what's her name? Melissa McCarthy, during the costume award, came out dressed in the most hilariously crazy looking costume outfit, and she had rabbit puppets
So it's like
on
we
her
had a
hands.
bunch of good, really quick hosts. Like a bunch
Exactly.
of good people do quick bits.
Like the Mike Myers and Dana Carvey. That was really sweet to have them up there doing a little bit together. I really appreciated that.
And whoever is the person that does the announcements, I thought they kept the show moving. So, all right, no host. I think it was one of the better Oscar programs I've seen.
That's what all the articles said, or whatever the reviews said about it. Was it was better than ever without a host.
I mean, the thing is that what's really interesting, and I think social media allows you to see this, is people get to weigh in on what they want to see. And in the end, the biggest outcry wasn't over a host. It was over the potential of them cutting the cinematography award, which I really wanted to see.
Well, also because, as it was said by many people, is that cinematography is literally filmmaking. That is
It just goes to show, we were talking about it, how just off the, they are not on, they're not with it at all. Like the Oscars.
I mean, hello, Green Book. We'll
get into that.
Okay, all right. So let's talk about some of the awards. The acting awards. Rami Malek, who everyone on this podcast, I think, has adored in his role as Freddie Mercury. What did you guys think?
We fully endorse that win.
Is there someone else you would have accepted as a winner if he didn't win?
Who else was nominated? I feel like I blocked everyone.
Willem Dafoe, because he's amazing, even though I didn't see Vincent van Gogh.
Oh, is that what it was?
Dafoe.
It wasn't it wasn't for an assassin or the Green Goblin
just for
or
being
something
him.
like that.
Can you just get an award? Can you be nominated just for being yourself?
I think more importantly,
she had it.
knew that he fell off the stage and needed to be
Rami Malek fell off the stage after he got the Oscar.
Okay, so how about this? If you could vote one actor from this year's Oscars to be able to be there next year, so they would get to compete, so they stay on the bubble. They didn't win this year, but you know what? What if everybody stinks next year? I'd like one of these actors in their particular
one
role
of the
to
ones that
compete next
didn't
year.
win. The ones that didn't win, they get
Like
to
a
give-
rollover minute?
Yeah, like a rollover minute. So
Yeah,
who would
read
you
me
give
the
rollover
nominees.
minutes to?
Read me
So
the other
Rami
nominees.
Malek for Bohemian Rhapsody, Christian Bale
No,
for...
but no.
Oh, sorry.
Rami
Christian
Malek
Bale
doesn't
for
count. He
Vice,
won.
Bradley Cooper, Willem Dafoe, and Viggo Mortensen.
Vigo.
Willem Dafoe should
Willem
get
Dafoe.
All
All right,
Yeah.
and I would say Christian Bale. So I guess we would pick
Sure.
all three of those to roll over to next year. Okay, so that's interesting. So maybe we'll come back in a year and we'll say, all right, who did we pick on rollover minutes to see if because come on, if you think about some of the Oscar movies,
we should.
so this is it. Rollover Oscars. We've started it right here. A new bit. It's a year-long bit. I hope everybody's hanging onto their seats. All right, Best Supporting Actor. Mahershala Ali wins. Any objections?
No, because he's just awesome.
I don't
Like,
really
I didn't
care.
see the
He
movie,
seems
and
really good.
I didn't see the movie. I don't really care about the movie, but I feel like he's going to nail whatever role he does, and I believe that he should win an Oscar.
He's amazing. I haven't seen
I would
the
say
movie.
he's the only thing that's going to get me to watch True Detective again. So they were smart about casting him. Because I was like, they burnt that bridge with Colin Farrell.
What I also love about him is that I feel like he really exemplifies the actors of today because he is doing movies where he's just knocking out Oscars, but then he's also appearing in TV shows that are high art. And in superhero shows, and he's voicing, I think, superheroes too on in animated features. I
don't need to see in Green Book to know that he beat what's his name, Sam Elliott, who had a scene that was important for 5 seconds.
Sam Elliott's great, but
no.
No, exactly. I would say if I were to roll someone over from this group, it's going to have to be Adam Driver because
duh. Yeah,
I think he's amazing, and if he doesn't get his Oscar now, he'll get it eventually. But you're not going to have any objection from me in Mahershala Ali winning. Now that being said, now that I've looked at this list again and I've thought about it, do you know who I really think should have won entirely outright?
Who?
Michael B. Jordan in Black Panther. To me, Michael B. Jordan was one of the
people were really
that,
upset that he was not even nominated. People were really surprised.
He's great.
I love Sam Rockwell. He's wonderful in Vice, but that's a caricature that's been done before, and he did it differently, and it was great acting. But to me, there's so many things that raised Black Panther beyond the level of a superhero, including the things it won for, the costumes and the production design. Those were amazing. But to me, Michael B. Jordan coming in there as a powerhouse villain with meaning behind him and intensity. I actually assumed he was going to win Best Actor all year, and I was kind of surprised.
No, he wasn't even nominated.
Best Supporting Actor all year. So okay.
I'm also happy for Regina King. Does Emma Stone need another Oscar? Does she?
Not really.
Right?
I love Regina King.
Fine with Regina
I love Regina King. Haven't seen the movie, but I think she's an amazing actress. I have been all in on her since the early days of Daddy Daycare.
Enemy
or Jerry Maguire.
And Miss Congeniality 2.
Jerry Maguire, people.
She's amazing.
True.
Haven't seen the movie. Happy to see her win. If I were to roll someone over from that group, it was Amy Adams in Vice because.
Amy Adams is. I would say I hope she's going to be the Meryl Streep and eventually get a whole ton, but she may be the Glenn Close and just always be nominated and never win.
It's so funny because I was having this conversation last night. We sort of think, my group I was hanging with last night, we were like, we bet Saoirse Ronan will be the Meryl Streep because she nails it in everything. She'll eventually just start winning all the Oscars.
That's a good point.
Yeah, she's
amazing. That's a good point, but Amy Adams at this point has 6 nominations, I think.
Yeah, she's amazing, Saoirse Ronan. Ever since she was a little kid too, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's gonna be a star.
All right, and while we're on the subject of Best Actress, I love Olivia Colman.
I love her. If anybody had to beat Meryl, thank God Glenn. Thank God it was her. But I feel it did. It did. And Olivia Colman, when she was this is not how I wanted it to go. You genuinely believe it. You're you don't want to be Glenn
or
Close.
She's
never won.
The Best Actress.
No.
Yeah.
She's so good. She's so good when she just goes at the microphone.
She's amazing.
She all of a sudden just made that noise.
She's
amazing.
She's amazing in Broadchurch. I would give her an Oscar for Broadchurch.
And everything.
No,
Jose was like, what did she win for? I was like, Broadchurch. I was like, no, that's not a thing. That's a TV show. I was like, that's not what she won for, but she should have.
Okay.
She's amazing. I feel bad for Glenn Close, though. But thank God it wasn't Lady Gaga. Also, the last word of her speech was, she just goes, Lady Gaga. Her speech was amazing. If you need to pick me up, YouTube it right now. Like, it's just so cute.
All right, let's talk about Gaga for a minute, and let's talk about. So, if you roll over, you guys gonna roll over Glenn Close?
Yeah, duh.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, I'll join you in rolling over Glenn Close.
Awkward.
But I think that one thing I've heard that Melissa McCarthy is actually amazing, and can you forgive me? So
I think that woman deserves an Oscar. I just think that Glenn Close maybe more. But yeah, sure, I'll roll over Melissa.
And just on Gaga, I've heard so many people say, well, she's not an actress. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. She is an actress.
Why not?
She knows how to act.
Saying Cher's not an actress.
Right.
Like, why can't... Or Barbra Streisand.
And Gaga's a trained actress. She went to art, right? Didn't she go to art school and like have acting teachers and things like that? So I think that I want to see Gaga.
She didn't. She's an actress. She's been on TV, and she made a documentary, and now she's an actress. Like, why can't she just be an actress?
I would like to see her act and not play like a supernatural sex demon or a singer.
That's a good point.
And because I think that then people will get away from judging her as she's not an actress because she's playing Gaga.
I mean, you give it to Streisand, who played a woman pretending to be a man at a yeshiva. Like, does it get less?
Oh my goodness,
right?
That's the next remake Gaga has to do. I forget what I said.
Yentl.
I want Gaga and Yentl. Gaga and Yentl.
You hear me?
It's gonna happen.
All right, done.
Like, I mean, you can't get as far from like where her career is going than that movie, and so obviously Streisand can act.
So let's talk about a happy one where.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Papa, oh la la.
No.
Papa, can you hear me?
Amazing mashup.
So, best animated feature. This family went all in on the Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
take it to Vegas.
Enough said.
It was amazing.
Enough said.
So glad it won. But I would like to let you guys know, I saw Ralph Breaks the Internet with the kids, and the kids wanted to see it, and they were so excited. And you know me, I get so excited when they want to see a movie. And we sat there, and they were jumping off their seats, and they were laughing at all the jokes. And I have to tell you, that was great. That's a perfect example of context. But I really, really did not like that movie. I loved the previous one, and this one was
shy. Becky, he called me the next day, and just like had to for his own psyche break down with me the things that did not sit well with him, and how the rules don't make sense in the movie, and then he starts going into deep plot lines, and I felt profoundly uncomfortable that children had to sit through this movie.
Because look, all I want to say about this movie is that it is one of these movies where they decide to do something with the characters that I didn't really feel was part of the character's arc, because it's the whole premise of it. With you. The whole premise of it is that that Vanellope needs to grow up and move away from home, but she's like a piece of circuits. I don't really get it. She wants to go live in another video game. That's the premise of it. But then it's wrapped in all of these insane meta internet jokes. So a whole segment of the movie, Becky, is the two characters bidding on something on eBay.
Yeah.
And then having to earn money with viral YouTube videos of Ralph.
I'm just not sure this is what we meant to talk about when we said we did Oscars.
I think this is going in the wrong direction.
But I appreciate your
I appreciate that you use the podcast for therapy. I appreciate that.
You know what? All right.
Let's get back to
fine. Now let's talk about Best Short. The dumpling / Cannibal Mothers the movie won Best Short. And beat out the Amazing Weekends, which is so incredible. The music, the visuals, the backgrounds, the motion, the way they do depth,
the color, the painting.
The way in 2-dimensional it felt more 3-dimensional than anything I've ever seen. It was so great.
So of course it was, a little bit heartbreaking that our friend didn't win, but I will say something I talked about with Trevor and Janine leading up to it, which is that just getting the nomination
it's a big deal.
Like winning.
Of course.
It feels like you've already won and everything else is a bonus. And as for Bao, I have been very vocal about how much I loved it. So while Weekends didn't win as my first pick, I was still really happy to see Bao win because I personally really love it. And I have to say, Domi Shi and her producer, Becky Neiman-Cobb's thank you speeches brought me to tears. Thought what they said was really impactful. And
let's be honest though, a lot brings you to tears. So
that's true.
Becky is really a contradiction.
I know.
She's like, Shy, stop sharing your feelings about Wreck-It Ralph. Hold on, I'm going to go sob at Oscar wins.
I just think it really touched me their speeches.
Well, there were speeches by women and minority that are saying to other girls like, don't give up on your dreams. That's a big deal. It's a really big deal.
She literally talked about her little dumpling, her little baby that was born.
And her name is Becky.
And her name is Becky, and she has a baby. And
that's enough for our Becky.
And these are also people that I know. Vlad works works for Domi, and Becky. I know her as well, and they're wonderful people, and it is really exciting to see worthy filmmakers.
You are totally right, and let's be clear. My reaction is so worthless, considering that these people just won Best Animated Short.
I have a question, Becky.
I would say, don't let them listen to this podcast, but I'm sure they would listen to it and be like, ha, 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 Mr. Oscar has a different opinion. So...
But here's the thing. Here's my question. Did Weekends ever have a chance up against Pixar?
I will say this. I think...
Did anybody have a chance up... Yeah,
in the short,
here's the thing. Weekends won Best Animated Short at the Annies, which is the highest award you could win within the animation award. Like the Annies are the Oscars of the animation
world.
Mm-hmm. So he won one of the highest.
But did he beat? Did he beat Bao?
I don't think Bao was I don't think Bao was actually nominated for Best Short.
Interesting.
But I think when you have something that is part of a studio juggernaut, your odds are a little bit odd.
Well, a big part of getting Oscar votes is having a campaign for those votes, and it takes a lot of money to have a campaign. And when you have 4 independent films against a massive studio film, there's a bit of an imbalance of who's going to get more exposure. And also keep in mind, Bao showed in front of Incredibles 2. So you're talking about millions.
The audience. I gotta see it.
Okay. Yeah. Let's wrap up with our other favorite.
Wait, can I ask Becky, have you spoken to Trevor?
No, I have not spoken to them. We're on different time zones, and I have been on a shoot for the last 12 hours.
But hopefully we can get Janine, his wife's opinion about the experience
soon. It's more like I want to get all I have to say is, and we'll go into when she's on the show, she looked amazing.
Okay, we're not doing a red carpet episode of Friday Night Movie. It's an audio podcast.
I mean, we'll see what the fans want, because there were some outfits. That's all I'm going to say.
We're going to call this Janine Breaks the Red Carpet, okay? It was that good.
Okay. Well... Where was I? Oh, yes. So wrap up with your one more favorite moment of the entire Oscar evening. It could be a win. It could be a performance. It could be a moment of scandal.
Well, now I kind of want to just watch. Well, okay, I think my favorite moment, considering I did not watch the show, I've only watched it on YouTube and like clips after, is Captain America helping Regina King up the stairs. Like, he's the cutest. I've been enjoying that meme. And there's like a bunch of stuff on the internet with him helping her as he's like holding the Captain America shield. It's very cute. And now I want to just Google Rami Malek falling off the stage. So I would say those are pretty good.
Becky?
Well, mine is a personal moment, but it's when Domi won and she went across the aisle.
Trevor was on the TV show.
A big hug, and then I saw Janine's little face in the corner.
Me too. I paused it on my phone.
That was
Janine.
My favorite moment.
That is awesome. That is a classy human there. So my favorite is a little one, which is that Spike Lee won an Oscar, which I feel like is something I really wanted to happen. And for me, who's someone who wasn't always the biggest fan, but now has become a huge fan, I was really glad to see that he won an Oscar. I would have liked to have seen him win for Best Director, but they're just reserving it for Cuarón every year now. So
right. But that leads us to our next thing before we finish is changed my mind. Favorite moment is that I read that when Green Book was named Best Picture, he tried to walk out, and they did not allow him to leave the theater.
What?
The theater doors were closed in that moment, and apparently, he stood up. He stood up and he walked down the aisle to go back out, out the back door, because he was not having it, and he threw his arms up apparently in anger, and they didn't let him leave. They closed the door, which was, I think that's pretty amazing. And when they asked him what he thought about it in his post Hollywood, whatever they do, their press junket thing at the end, he just said no comment. He's like, next question, please.
He was
pissed.
Maybe I didn't see it. Anyways, that's not classy. Like I said, I'm glad he won an Oscar. I'm not sure how I feel about him as a guy or the way he reacts to things, but I'm really glad he won. I'm really glad he won an Oscar.
He did kind of what probably everybody was thinking, which I think is pretty funny. Because I have to just read you a few. I'm just going to read a few things. If you need to cut this after, that's your business.
I'm cutting this after because I really don't want to go and tear down Green Book. As much I didn't see the movie, but I feel like that's us wading into a conversation that without having seen the movie we are not qualified to weigh into. So I really don't want to tear down Green Book.
But I'm not going to tear it down. It's not
tearing it down. It's that it's not
movie.
It's not worthy of Best Picture. It's not tearing it down. You don't need to see this movie to know.
But I also think that guys, this is not news. How often do you so passionately
the Best Picture never wins
for winner,
except maybe Moonlight.
And I think that what Shai is saying, what you were saying about, that's not a classy move. I agree. I think in the end of the day, you have to be, you have to have some grace about this, because this doesn't really, it matters, sure, as far as recognition, but it doesn't. It's just, but as someone who works in this industry, it's just it's kind
true. But this tweet sums it up. So you cannot tell me that Green Book is a better film than Roma, Black Panther, or even Black Klansman. You cannot. This is fucking stupid. It's true. It's dumb.
But
it makes no sense.
Trevor didn't throw dumplings at the stage when he didn't win Best Animated Short.
Should get up and leave. I'm saying it's pretty fair to acknowledge that this clearly is not the best picture of the year. Also,
sure,
I like
but
this
I also
tweet.
think you need to be classy and respectful.
Sure. But listen to this one. Congratulations to Crash. Wait, listen. Congratulations to Crash, which finally has company atop the, that movie beat what as Best Picture? Among all the movies? Was it the only movie released that year? Funeral Pyre, the Academy has been slowly stoking for years now. And another one, congrats to Green Book on at least not being directed by Bryan Singer. I like that one.
All right. That's pretty funny. And what about Gaga and Bradley Cooper? Are you shipping them?
I'm you're married to you're with the hottest woman of all time, Irina Shayk, and you have a daughter with her. Yet it's getting a bit weird between the two of them. It's a bit much.
I'm not shipping them. I think that they have a close bonded connection, and I think it is very, presumptuous and gossipy of us to assume that there's more there.
2 words for you people.
Let them be friends.
2 words for you people. Hunger Games. What did PETA and Catnip do to build the story around themselves? Was they built that romance and they lit her hair on fire or something? I feel
but they don't need to know. They're done. They're done. The Oscars, that's it.
But I feel like,
finished. They don't need to keep this up.
I feel like this was.
Do you think
a little bit of a shtick?
You think it was to get press for them, to get them?
No, I think Becky's right. They have a close bond, but I think when people picked up on it and it became a thing, I think it's really good acting. And
I mean, not to turn this into like a gossip rag, but she did just break up her engagement. So, just saying.
No, I think like let's just respect the craft and leave the gossip out of it, okay?
Look at us going high road on so many different things. I'm like, I will not.
I think it's bullshit.
After I eviscerated a worthy movie that won Best Animated Feature, animated short, I like start to get.
You did not eviscerate it. Actually, what you said, and I think this is fair, is you said, here are all the reasons why I think Weekend is these are all the reasons Weekend was my top pick. You actually didn't really say
No, but I did call some like random names at Bao that were totally.
I mean,
unwarranted.
you called it cannibalist.
It's basically I called it mother cannibalism.
But I just think that's a real thing that happens.
Okay, so all right. So for Becky, it's a documentary. Now, speaking of documentaries, I want to go out on this one last thing before we go.
Are you upset that Solo?
I'm going to say, Mom and Dad did not.
Best documentary. Are you upset?
Mom and Dad did not blow up my phone with texts of "I told you so" when Solo won Best Documentary.
Shocking.
So now you
probably didn't watch it.
I've been telling you guys to watch it.
I was like, the guy from Baby Driver is such a good rock climber. Now, that is a joke, just so everybody's listening. If you go back to our first and second episode of this podcast, some 77 episodes ago, just you'll get that joke of Baby Driver and Solo. And with that, Lily, where can people follow you?
Chichi K. Gomez at hotmail.com. I almost said. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. And someone today, wait, I got to tell you guys this really quick. I was with some friends today, and we all have kids and stuff, and a friend of mine was just saying how they sometimes when you talk about kids, like you're explaining like private parts, you don't use the real word, like you call it different names. And she was like, oh, and yeah, for like a vagina, you would say chi-chi. I was like, you would say what? I was like, excuse me? I was like, in Canada, that's not what they say. And she was like, yeah, chi-chi could be a nickname for that. I'm like, no. Really? She's like, yeah. I was like, we're gonna pretend we never had this conversation. I'm not telling you my Twitter handle.
Becky, where can people follow you?
So Chichi Kegom was at twitter.com. I mean, on Twitter.
I'm just moved on to Becky. Where can people follow you?
Paper BK Princess. I am the Paper Beck Princess. It is Paper BK Princess at twitter.com.
And you can follow me. You can follow me on Friendster at Pancake or Table.
I probably have a Friendster account still out there somewhere.
And the music of What Does It Eat will kick in, and we will take it out on a little bit of dancing. And remember to come see us at All-Star Comic-Con on June 7th, 8th, and 9th in Tyson's Corner, Virginia. Bye-bye.
Bye.
How did he get so much sand in his eyes?
We didn't see it. He says that the little girl that we were playing with, like my friend's daughter, threw sand in his eyes, but he's 3. I don't know. I don't know what happened. She said she didn't. She said he fell. She's a bit older, so she was like, he fell. Then I asked him, and he was like, she threw sand in my face. So, I mean, nobody saw it.
I can't put this on the podcast, right?
I mean, sure. I don't care. Right. Yeah.